All rise, veuillez vous lever. The International Criminal Tribunal for the former Yugoslavia is now in session. L'audience du Tribunal Pénal International pour l'ex-Yougoslavie est ouverte. Please be seated.
Il s'agit de l'affaire IT 94-1T, le procureur contre Duško Tadić.
Thank you. Good morning. This is the sentencing for Mr. Duško Tadić. Mr. Tadić, can you hear me? Okay. Mr. Vuyin, can you hear me? You're using your earphones.
No.
Okay. Can you hear me now, Mr. Vuyin?
Yes, it's okay.
Mr. Tadić, can you hear me? Okay. Can you hear me now? Very good, thank you. Mr. Tadić, do you have anything to say before the trial chamber pronounces its sentence?
Name.
On the 30th of June and the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of July 1997, the trial chamber conducted a pre-sentencing hearing and received submissions by the prosecution and the defense as to the appropriate sentence to impose upon you. The trial chamber has considered those submissions and today will issue its sentencing judgment. Before pronouncing sentencing, however, I have a few comments to make regarding the offenses for which you were convicted and the circumstances surrounding their commission. On the 7th of May 1997, the trial chamber rendered its opinion and judgment, unanimously finding you guilty of serious violations of international humanitarian law. The precise findings are set forth in that opinion and judgment. By way of a general summary, however, the chamber found that on 10 separate occasions you beat, stabbed, and kicked 19 Muslim men in Kozarats, the Prijedor barracks, and the Ormaska and Karaterm camps, and you aided and abetted in the beating of one Muslim prisoner and the sexual mutilation of another at the Ormaska camp. Further, the trial chamber found that you killed 2 Muslim men in Kozarats by slitting their throats. You played an active part in the attack on Kozarats, its violent ethnic cleansing, and the forced expulsion of villagers from Sivski and Jashički. You participated in the seizure, selection, and transfer of non-Serbs to the Ormaska, Karaterm, and Ternopoli camps, with the awareness that most of the surviving prisoners would be deported from Bosnia and Herzegovina. You committed these offenses intentionally and with sadistic brutality, using knives, whips, iron bars, the butt of a pistol, sticks, and by kicking the victims and tightening a noose around the neck of one of them until he became unconscious. Why? The testimony of one witness explains your pattern of cruel and brutal conduct against your former friends and neighbors. The witness testified that you threatened that the area, quote, would be a greater Serbia. It would be theirs, and that we Muslims will not be there, that there will be no place for them, end of quote. And this came to pass. For before the conflict, Opština Prijedor contained approximately 50,000 Muslims and 6,000 Croats, whereas only 6,000 Muslims and 3,000 Croats remained after the ethnic cleansing. Thus you embraced the extreme principles of Serb nationalism, and you played an increasingly major role in the SDS. The trial chamber recognizes that these crimes were committed during an armed conflict, and it acknowledges the virulent propaganda that recalled real and imagined abuses by one religious group against the other. Those who sought territorial and political gains initiated a campaign to realize these goals by force of arms with limitless cruelty and viciousness. You responded to this campaign, however, and you must bear responsibility for your criminal conduct. To condone your actions, even when committed in this context, is to give effect to a base view of morality and invite anarchy. For the reasons set forth in the sentencing judgment, and having considered all of the evidence, the arguments of the parties, and the tribunal statute and rules, the trial chamber imposes on you, Duško Tadić, the following penalties. Would you please rise, Mr. Tadić? As to counts 10 and 11, for inhumane treatment as a crime against humanity, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 10 years imprisonment. For cruel treatment as a violation of the laws or customs of war, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 9 years imprisonment. As to counts 13 and 14, for inhumane treatment as a crime against humanity, the trial chamber sentenced you, Duško Tadić, to 7 years imprisonment. For cruel treatment as a violation of the laws or customs of war, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 6 years imprisonment. As to counts 16 and 17, for inhumane treatment as a crime against humanity, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 7 years imprisonment. For cruel treatment as a violation of the laws or customs of war, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 6 years imprisonment. As to counts 22 and 23, for inhumane treatment as a crime against humanity, the trial chamber sentences you, Duško Tadić, to 7 years imprisonment. For cruel treatment as a violation of the laws or customs of war, the trial chamber sentences you to 6 years imprisonment. As to counts 33 and 34, for inhumane treatment as a crime against humanity, the trial chamber sentences you, Dusko Tadic, to 10 years imprisonment. For cruel treatment as a violation of the laws or customs of war, the trial chamber sentences you, Dusko Tadic, to 9 years imprisonment. As to count 1, for various acts of persecution as a crime against humanity, including the killing of Osman Besic and Eden Besic, the trial chamber sentences you, Dusko Tadic, to 20 years imprisonment. As to the concurrence of the sentences, each of the sentences is to be served concurrently inter se. The trial chamber recommends that unless exceptional circumstances apply, Dusko Tadic's sentence should not be commuted or otherwise reduced to a term of imprisonment less than 10 years from the date of this sentencing judgment or of the final determination of any appeal, whichever is the latter. In accordance with Rule 101E, Dusko Tadic is entitled to credit for time for which he was detained in custody pending his surrender to the tribunal or pending trial or appeal. Although he was arrested on 12 February 1994, his detention pending surrender to the International Tribunal did not commence until 8 November 1994, when Trial Chamber 1 issued a formal request to the government of the Federal Republic of Germany to defer to the jurisdiction of the International Tribunal. Consequently, Dusko Tadic is entitled to credit, except in respect of the minimum term recommendation made by the trial chamber in paragraph 76 of the sentencing judgment, for 2 years, 8 months, and 6 days of time served in relation to the sentence imposed by the trial chamber as of the date of this sentencing judgment, together with such additional time as he may serve pending the determination of any appeal. The trial chamber directs the registrar to submit to the trial chamber and to the parties a list of states, members of the United Nations, or other states who, pursuant to Article 27 of the statute, have indicated to the Security Council their willingness to accept convicted persons. The trial chamber decides that it shall consider the list submitted by the registrar and will entertain written submissions from the parties as to the state in which Dusko Tadic should serve his sentence. The trial chamber shall then order the registrar to make arrangements for the transfer of the prisoner to the selected state in consultation with the president of the International Tribunal and the presiding judge of this trial chamber, but shall suspend the order until such time as the appeals chamber has considered and determined the appeal of the parties. Until that time, in accordance with Rule 102, Dusko Tadic, you are to remain in the custody of the International Tribunal. This concludes the entry of the sentencing judgment. If there's nothing else from the parties, very good. Then we will stand adjourned.
All rise. Veuillez vous lever.